Hello, welcome back to another League Talk with Nom. Today we'll be talking about the power of not giving up. Now, this applies both for if you're behind and if you're ahead in the game. Now you might be thinking, why would I give up if I was ahead? There's a lot of things that can happen. Most often, you'll hear the term throwing, and that's definitely giving up while you're ahead. If you come out of lane phase and you're doing really well, then there's no reason that you should be losing that game. But if you don't pressure or don't win team fights, or if other lanes were losing very badly, then the outcome of that game might not be what you wanted. Now, there are many things you can do if you're ahead to not give up on the win. First of all, you should always try to engage team fights if you are ahead in the game, because the gold lead only matters if you're pressuring them in team fights. If you have more gold and more experience than them and you just let them roam around or take objectives or not do anything, you could be 10,000 gold ahead and have 2 full items on them. But if you're not fighting, that doesn't matter. Secondly, if you are in a position where you can roam, being a mid laner, being a top laner with teleport, or even a bot lane that might be fed, or the support that can roam up to mid lane, helping other lanes always can help the team. The worst thing to do would be going to another lane and feeding that lane, but hopefully you can go and at least get an assist or get a flash or create some pressure for that person to win their lane. The more lanes you have snowballing, the better chance you have at winning that game. Another thing you can do if you're winning your lane, if you take your tower first, you can go into the jungle that is closest to you on the opposite side and ward that so you can have full control of that jungle as well. Maybe create some picks and just disrupt the other jungler's pathing. The more people behind on their team, the better chance you have of winning your game. Another common thing you hear is win lane and lose game. This is just exactly what I've been talking about, is you win your lane because you're very good at laning and very good at 1v1 engagements. But maybe you're not so good in team fights, or maybe just the other lanes didn't win. So it is your job to go from your lane to other lanes to help them out. Because if you have a gold lead over your lane, maybe you're even in gold with the mid laner. So you go to the mid lane and push him out and just create some pressure and maybe even get that tower so everybody gets more gold and everybody can be doing better on your team. Now you're asking, well, what if I'm behind? Shouldn't we just give up at 20 minutes if we're just getting stomped? It just depends how the team is doing. If everybody's being toxic and you're down by 20 or more kills and you don't have any objective control or awareness of the map, then yes, at that point, I would say it would probably be best to cut your losses. No one wants to be stuck in a 45-minute game that you're losing the whole time. But then again, if you do manage to live that long, depending on your team comp, you can definitely come back. The thing about League is there's always time for comebacks. No matter how far down you are, you can always come back. Either if they throw a team fight or they try to take Baron and you catch them out when they're low, then you can just push through a bunch of turrets and take a ton of positioning back, or not just win the game at that point. But there are definitely times that it's too long of a shot to even consider, or it's just a Hail Mary that might work. It's always time to throw and to come back in games. Now, if you're losing, there are a bunch of things to do to make you come back. It's just the inverse of everything I said if you're winning to hold on to your lead. If you lost your lane and they took your tower first, the first thing you need to do is go and ward your jungle so you can see where either they place wards or where they are just roaming around in your jungle. Now, if you don't see them in your jungle at all, then it would be best either to have that solo laner stay in their lane pretty far back and just try to absorb experience from minions, or roam to other lanes to try to get them fed. The magic of having someone on your team very fed to carry the not fed people through either the mid game or even all the way into the late game is huge. Granted, this mostly works in below master or even diamond 3 elos, but having a fed person on your team, no matter how good or bad the team is always a great advantage. On top of warding, which everybody should always do, it's not just the support's job, you should honestly not fight if you're not winning. If they have a big advantage over you, the best thing to do would be turtle up, take some CS, clear some camps, and try to take some global objectives. Maybe roam 4 or 5 man into a lane where they only have one person. Or if you see them pushing down bot lane but they already took a tower, maybe rotate top and take a tower or two to try to catch up in the gold. The longer you can prolong the game as the losing team, the better shot you have at winning. Unless they have super late game champs, if they have like a mid rise and a top Nasus, maybe prolonging the game isn't the best idea. But if they're already ahead and crushing you at 20 minutes, they're going to be even more ahead and crushing you even harder at 40. I would never say to surrender a game, although I have surrendered plenty in my day. There's always a chance to come back. But the biggest factor isn't how you're playing or even how the other team is playing. It's the attitude of your team. If your team is negative and your team just doesn't want to continue, then there's no point in trying to force them to continue. If you can tell the other team is fighting each other as well, maybe it is. But if it's overall negative, then at that point you should cut your losses. You always have a chance to come back. No matter how good or bad it looks, the winning team can always lose. You just have to take your time and be patient and wait for them to mess up. And at that point, you need to take one really good shot at the team and hopefully come out on top. Many, many games are decided in the last team fight opposed to all the other team fights previous to that. That's just my 2 cents. If you liked what you saw here today, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button to get more Salvo Gaming videos. Follow me on Twitter. I am Nomsensical, spelled how it is in the game. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.